There is a hidden mechanism within the human psyche, a quiet, powerful law that most of us never activate because we are too busy speaking, defending, and proving. It is this: the moment you stop explaining yourself, the universe begins to realign. When you consciously withdraw your energy from external battles and turn your focus inward, a profound reorganization begins. Life doesn't just feel smoother, it becomes coherent. This isn't mystical thinking. It is a psychological process, and understanding it is the key to unlocking a life of clarity, purpose, and unexpected synchronicity. Part 1. The Psychology of Silence, where the real work begins. Let's be clear, the silence we're talking about is not just the absence of sound. It's a psychic event. In the framework of depth psychology, think Carl Jung. Silence is the critical moment when the ego's constant narration, its need to comment, defend, and control, finally weakens. Why is this so powerful, yet so uncomfortable? Because we often avoid silence instinctively. It exposes what we work tirelessly to suppress: our unhealed wounds, our buried potential, our deepest fears, and the contradictions we paper over with busyness. When you finally stop reacting to the outside world's noise, the opinions, the expectations, the drama, and you choose to turn inward, you initiate a fundamental shift. The unconscious mind, no longer shouted down by the ego, begins to reorganize. It sends up insights, symbols, and emotional truths that were buried under 1,000 distractions. But here's the crucial question for you. When was the last time you gave yourself true, uninterrupted silence? Not just quiet, but conscious, inward focus? Drop a comment below. I'm genuinely curious to hear about your experience with this. This inward focus is not selfishness. It is the initiation of what Jung called individuation, the lifelong process of becoming who you truly are, rather than living as a collection of reactions to conditioning. The noise of social expectation, the comparisons, the arguments, the endless performance, keeps the ego inflated. It feeds the ego but starves the self. Silence is the point where the ego loses its fuel. And in that gentle collapse, your authentic nature begins to reassemble itself. Jung famously said that the privilege of a lifetime is to become who you truly are. But this becoming doesn't happen in chaos. It happens in the quiet. Like this video, if this concept is resonating so far, it helps this channel grow and reach more people on this journey. When you withdraw your energy from defending your identity, from trying to make others see your worth, you perform what Jungian theory calls the withdrawal of projections. Projection is when we attribute our inner conflicts to the outside world, blaming others, seeking validation from them, expecting them to fill holes that only we can mend. When you focus on yourself and stay silent, you pull these projections back. Suddenly, you see with stunning clarity which problems were truly yours, which wounds need your attention, and which desires were never authentically yours to begin with. This is why things start falling into place. You are no longer fighting your own inner compass. The persona, the mask you show the world, weakens. And when the persona weakens, the self begins to speak. Its voice isn't loud or demanding. It's a quiet knowing, an intuitive nudge. Part 2. The Ego's Battle, and Why Silence is Its Kryptonite. The ego hates silence. It thrives on noise, attention, drama, and constant stimulation because these things maintain its illusion of centrality and control. The ego is a survival mechanism, not a source of truth. It's always scanning for threats, insults, or opportunities to feel superior. When you choose sustained inner focus, you remove the ego's battlefield. No opponents to fight, no audience to impress. At first, this creates intense discomfort. The ego interprets silence as annihilation. But beneath that discomfort lies the beginning of real freedom. Let me ask you this. Can you identify one ego pattern in your life? Maybe people-pleasing, over-explaining, or needing the last word that you're ready to observe without acting on? Share in the comments if you feel comfortable. Naming it is the first step to reclaiming your power. Focusing on yourself interrupts the ego's addictive cycle of external validation. You stop needing people to approve of your choices to feel secure. This interruption forces the ego to confront its core illusion that all the approval it sought could ever fill an inner void. It can't. The ego is a bottomless pit. By turning inward, you begin to draw from a different, deeper well. As the ego weakens, your perception changes. You stop interpreting everything personally. Instead of, why is this happening to me? You begin to ask, what is this teaching me? The ego personalizes, the self observes. This detachment isn't apathy. It's the birth of true clarity. You start to see the world as it is, not as your fear-based ego imagines it to be. Subscribe for weekly deep dives into mastering your inner world. The journey continues. Part 3. The reorganization. How your inner world shapes your outer reality. Here's the transformative secret. The world doesn't fall into place because circumstances magically change. It falls into place because your inner orientation changes. Most people try to fix reality without fixing their perception. When you focus on yourself, you stop interfering with your psyche's natural movement toward wholeness. Jung taught that the unconscious is always trying to heal you, but it can't do its work when the ego is screaming. Silence lowers the volume. This allows compensatory symbols from the unconscious to rise, as intuition, sudden clarity, emotional breakthroughs, or powerful dreams. Your dream life may intensify because your psyche finally has the space to communicate. Life becomes more coherent because your choices are no longer made from fear, trauma, or ego-driven impulse. They come from a place of inner alignment. And alignment is a magnetic force. Think of a recent decision. Did it come from a place of should, ego, or a deep yes, self? Let's discuss the difference in the comments. Silence is not passive. It is a psychological act of reclaiming power. When you stop explaining yourself, people reveal their true intentions. When you stop defending your position, you see who respects you. When you stop feeding drama with a reaction, the conflict collapses. It had no energy of its own. You stop leaking energy through explaining, proving, and battling for validation. That reclaimed energy gathers in your center, creating a powerful inner gravity. People sense this. They either align with it or naturally fall away. Part 4. The emergence of the true self. Boundaries, intuition, and inner authority. As this process deepens, profound shifts occur. 1. Boundaries emerge naturally. Silence reveals where others have crossed your emotional or energetic lines. Instead of fighting externally, you correct this internally by reclaiming your worth. Boundaries become expressions of your soul's dignity, not walls of anger. 2. Intuition becomes your guide. Jung considered intuition a legitimate psychological function. It's the unconscious processing patterns the conscious mind can't yet articulate. When you quiet the ego, intuition becomes louder. You sense what aligns with you long before logic can explain why. This is why decisions become easier. 3. You reclaim inner authority. Most people outsource their authority to parents, partners, social media, culture. Jung warned this creates anxiety and meaninglessness. Silence is the rebellion. In the quiet, you reclaim your internal compass. When that compass stabilizes, your external path clarifies. Share this video with someone who needs to hear this message today. Sometimes the right video finds us at the perfect time. Part 5. The practical shift. Embodying the silence in a noisy world. This isn't about becoming a hermit. It's about changing the quality of your engagement. It's the shift from reaction to observation. When a triggering event happens, instead of immediately responding, you create a silent, internal pause. In that pause, you ask, is this my ego feeling threatened, or is this myself communicating a true value? This simple pause dissolves countless conflicts before they begin. You begin to differentiate between ego-driven desires, I want this so people will admire me, and self-driven desires, this feels true to my spirit, regardless of outcome. The more you align with the latter, the less resistance you meet. The self does not generate resistance, it resolves it. Your relationships transform. You attract people who match your new emotional maturity. You stop trying to change those who don't. This isn't pushing people away, it's honoring your own frequency. What is not aligned will naturally feel less compelling to you, and you to it. Final contemplation, the aligned life. Focusing on yourself is the ultimate return to responsibility, not for others' feelings, but for your own state of being. It is the journey from fragmentation to wholeness. Jung insisted the outer world is a mirror of the inner world. When you clean the inner mirror through silence and self-focus, the reflection, your life, becomes clear. Synchronicities increase. Opportunities that feel like a fit appear, not because the universe is playing favorites, but because you have stopped fighting the current of your own deepest nature. The path isn't about adding more. It's about surrendering the noise, releasing the false identities, and having the courage to sit in the silent, fertile space where your true self is waiting to emerge. Everything you've been seeking externally is orchestrated from that quiet center. This is a deep, lifelong practice, not a one-time fix. The most important step is to begin. Carve out 10 minutes today. Sit in silence. Observe your thoughts without following them. Withdraw your energy from an old argument you're replaying in your head. Notice what arises. I'd love to continue this conversation with you. What part of today's discussion hit home the most? What's your biggest challenge in creating this kind of inner silence? Your comments not only help our community grow, but they also help shape what we explore next on this channel. If you found value in this, please like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell. We build this space together. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Until then, give yourself the gift of your own attention.